Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're back to Satanist Says What with Steve Hill, who I'd like to inform you is running for Congress in 2026 for the 37th Congressional District. That's, as he says, is a large chunk of Los Angeles. So if you're in Los Angeles, Steve may be one of the candidates you can vote for, so you might want to keep your eyes open for him. But tonight, we're going to let Steve talk about some First and Second Amendment issues that affect him personally. And Steve, do you want to introduce the story that people may not have heard about what happened to you?
Yes, thank you for first off having me on your show, providing a platform so I can get some things off my chest. I'll just recap what's been going on with me legally since March 7th, 2022. I was arrested, had my home raided, and weapons confiscated due to violating California's prohibited persons code violation, where if you're deemed to be a threat to society, they take your weapons from you and you're restricted from possessing any firearms. Well, in this case, what happened to me, this whole case came about due to political retaliation for me speaking out at a public event hosted by a politician, which was County Supervisor Catherine Barger of the 5th District in Los Angeles County. That's where I lived at the time. I spoke out, public meeting. The sheriff was there, Alex Villanueva, and no one liked what I had to say because basically I was informing the people that this event that I spoke at was only used as a mechanism to further divide the people. And this was done back during the pandemic when all kinds of divisive statements were being made, like the China virus. And at the time, what they were talking about at the particular meeting was specifically the Mexican drug cartels. You know, they always throw an ethnic group in front of something when they want to divide the people. And I really didn't appreciate it, because I think what they were doing were taking advantage of their geographical location. They gave a meeting where the population was approximately 98% white people, and they started ranting and raving and screaming about the Mexican drug cartels growing cannabis in the high desert in North Los Angeles County, which, as a real estate appraiser, I knew who was actually growing the cannabis, because I appraised a lot of their properties. And there was a certain ethnic group out of the Eagle Rock, Pasadena area of Los Angeles County, and these people were growing cannabis illegally along with other people. There was also other ethnic groups, Asians, Armenians, and they didn't like that I informed the people that they were just being further divided with the rhetoric that they were spewing. So anyways, about 2 weeks after that, I was arrested and taken to jail, had my weapons confiscated, my father's weapons confiscated, which I kept on the wall as mementos, family heirlooms, basically. And the fact that they used my mental health and me seeking assistance to keep my mental health intact, which I was having a whole lot of anger management issues, which arose due to another incident with the Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, where when I was out appraising property, I had a sheriff's deputy come to my house to question me in 2020, around the same time the George Floyd incident happened. I had a deputy come to my house to question me about being in his neighborhood, which I was really pissed off about. And I went to some anger management counseling for that, and they used that to arrest me for speaking out at a public event. So it's just kind of snowballed one incident to another, which all arose out of back in 2009 when they shot and killed my dog in my driveway. And that's when first time I realized that there are no devices for accountability in the Los Angeles County as it pertains to the Sheriff's Department. No accountability. And as I see today, with me not being able to get my weapons back, no one's pressing charges. It has taken me 3 years, 9 months to get into a courtroom which I find really egregious since they violated my Second Amendment rights. They took my weapons. I'm a retired prison guard. I have no way to protect myself, my own safety, and now I'm living in South Los Angeles in an area that I know is gang infested, and I'm running into parolees, people I knew that when I was a correctional officer. It's people, gang members down here that remember me from being a prison guard. And I'm going to go to court next month, finally, on the 10th, to see what happens, see if I can get any form of justice. And there's a lot of politicians that know, I've tried to get help from our political people. There's about 12 elected officials that know about this false arrest, and they are just stupefied where they can do nothing to help a citizen, a tax-paying business owner. They could do nothing to help me whatsoever. No one wanted to expose it. So I had to go through all of this trauma and grief just to get justice. So that's why I'll be running for Congress, because if you ask me, either side, Democrat or Republican, neither one of them are worth a damn to me. And I think people could do better as far as being represented. So I'm going to run for the 37th Congressional District, represent the people, and hopefully I can start some form of revolution. But we need to change our political system. The Democrats are weak as hell. That's why we're on the edge of fascism right now, because they're so weak and lame that they can't even fight for the people. That's why Trump's running roughshod all over the government. They're breaking down the guardrails of our institutions. For what? I don't know. It looks like he's getting ready to try to run another term. Or not even run another term, just
have one.
Himself the president, the king.
Everybody wants a dictator.
Yeah.
They tell him so all the time, apparently, in his head.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Democrats keep asking me for money, and I haven't sent them any. It's like, when the Republicans are in power, they get what they want. But when the Democrats are in power, the Republicans get what they want. It's like, when do you plan to use this money of mine to actually achieve anything worthwhile, right?
Right. Do something. Like Michelle Obama said, do something. The Democrats have seemed like they've been a dormant party for this whole term of Donald Trump, which there's not much fight back. We're going to see if they're going to have a continuing resolution for this upcoming bill to see if they shut down the government, which they should do, because they give in to everything. They cave into everything. They're not fighting for the people. That's why our entire political system is broken.
Yeah, I remember during COVID, I can't remember what governor it was, but one governor had counter press conferences. So every time Trump would get up and say, "Oh, inject bleach or take ivermectin or don't listen to doctors," or whatever it was, they would have their own thing where it's like, here's what doctors say, here, ivermectin is bad, and here, please don't inject yourself with bleach, and here's the things that science says you should do. And they had a counter, when they had the State of the Union address, and the other side gets to say something after. They had a daily briefing.
Almost like you have to do a rebuttal to give out credible information.
And so why aren't they doing it? Why isn't that on every channel every day after he says something stupid? Why aren't they having here's our that was stupid, and here's what's real, right? But I don't see that anywhere.
Yeah,
maybe late night comedies, but no.
The Democrats, they're stuck inside this cocoon of incompetence where they just can't do anything. They can't counterpunch. They can't punch back. They can't even just get out there and verbally express to the people the truth. And Donald Trump, he seems like he tells 10, 15 lies a day.
Well, yeah, but that's probably before breakfast even.
Yeah, and there's got to be some counter messaging to this. There's got to be something to offset this stupidity and the rhetoric, especially coming after this Charlie Kirk incident, where they seem to, even his memorial service, they turn it
Right.
into a white nationalist rally. I've never seen so much self-centered speeches when they're supposed to be eulogizing this icon of their movement, which clearly, to me, they made it abundantly clear
Mm-hmm.
that it's all surrounded by white nationalism. And I think that has a lot to do with the replacement theory that they so fear of turning the country brown or brownish or browner.
Can't have
But
it soon enough.
Trump told them that they were losing their country and they were going to have to fight like hell to keep it. You're not going to have a country anymore. He stated that to these people. And it seems like the 2025 agenda is to, I don't know, anarchy.
Erase everyone who's not white male. I mean, I guess I'll keep a few white females around for breeding. I don't guess, but it's mostly it's
Yeah.
just some white dudes. It's all for white dudes.
They're going to have somebody to do the work. I know that in a capitalistic society, there's have to be people at the bottom of the pyramid, and those people are usually the working class. So I don't know if AI is going to take over everything, but I just have a feeling that we're going to need a few humans to stick around to do some of this work.
Maybe a little few poor white guys in and do that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's really I don't really go for a lot of conspiracy theories, but all you have to say is Tuskegee experiments to prove that sometimes they're true. But I don't. Charlie Kirk's almost more valuable to them dead than alive. I mean, alive, he was actually calling for the Jeffrey Epstein files to be released. But dead, he can't do that anymore. And they get this whole big rally, Hitler style, right, with the balloons and the music and the yeah.
Pyrotechnics at a funeral. When does that happen? Why do you need pyrotechnics, firework displays at a funeral?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the creepiest thing I ever seen, especially with that warm embrace of Charlie Kirk's widow. It's like, wow, it's almost like watching some type of performative art where they're going through the motions to try to brainwash the people with their ideology. So, yeah, it's just kind of bizarre to me. But, don't get me wrong. I don't think anyone should ever be executed or to sacrifice their life for their First Amendment rights. But
well, the guy wasn't just saying.
The way I see it, this guy, most of what he was doing was spewing hatred and division. Mm-hmm. So, you might be able to mourn a death, but his ideology and the fact of what he did when he was alive, I mean, if you want people to say good stuff about you when you die, then do good stuff when you're alive. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
True. People are getting fired from their jobs just for quoting back Charlie Kirk quotes. Like, wow, this is ridiculous. We've gone into some type of different dimension, parallel, alternate. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Opened up a portal. We're in. I don't know where we are, but we gotta do something to unite, have a revolution, do something to reconstitute common sense and power to the other half of our political machine, which would be the Democrats.
Well, it's kind of what we're stuck with at the moment. It's Republicans or Democrats. There's not a practical way, really, at the moment, to get a third-party candidate seriously.
Right.
I mean, unless we switch the whole system and have a parliamentary system where you have coalitions, but we just don't do that here, and so.
Yeah, and they need to do away with the Electoral College, of course, so we can have a true democracy. But as long as we have money in our politics, there's going to be because this is a capitalist society, there's going to be an excessive amount of money. And all that money goes to is our fourth branch of government, which is the media. That's just a big payday for them. And that's why it takes millions and millions of dollars to win one congressional seat, which I find to be just ridiculous. All that money just goes to the media to do a low-grade brainwashing of the people. And maybe now I'm hoping that the people will be engaged to what's actually going on. They see all of the illegal happenings in the country with people being snatched off the street, provided no due process,
Well, getting lost. They just lost 1,200 people from Alcatraz, right? They won't say where they went. We don't know where they are. 1,200
Right.
people.
And who's going to be holding these people accountable for the bodies? I mean, yeah, it's a lot going on, Even at our college levels, our colleges are being disrupted. Funds are being taken. It's like extortion. It's crazy.
That's a nice university you got. There'd be a shame if something happened to it.
It's a shame if something happened to it. Maybe we should let Ted Cruz explain it.
Yeah.
with his gangster voice. But
I don't know. It just seems so dystopian, and yet I shouldn't say and yet, but I keep seeing things like China just bought 0 soybeans from us, right? But they went to Canada instead, and then now
South America.
Canada and Mexico have now decided to skip the U.S. and they're trading something else that they used to trade with us. And it's like, well, I guess we'll just be, this isolationist little backward third world country, I guess, and people are like, what's the best country ever? And it's like, well, it never was, but what do you mean's best? I mean, define best, most isolated, most poor, most, poor people, most people in prison. I mean,
yeah, incarcerated. That's what happens when you elect people that don't understand. We have a geopolitical worldwide economy that relies on a lot of countries, a lot of different trade agreements. So when you start throwing tariffs around and bullying other countries, and that includes Canada, bullying your friends, bullying your neighbors, bullying Europe, bullying China, it's like, where do you stop? You don't understand the ramifications of your actions. Where do you stop? Where do you go from there? So we'll just kind of have to hold on for the ride, I guess.
Because clearly the guy in charge doesn't understand anything. Was it Jasmine Crockett was releasing his standardized test scores? Somebody was doing that last week. It might not have been her, but it was somebody got a hold of at least one of the standardized test scores. And he always calls himself a stable genius. So I'm pretty sure if he were to tell you about his standardized test score, he'd be in the 99th percentile, right?
Yeah, of course.
But the actual number is actually higher than you might think, but it was 38. He was in the 38th percentile. So, he's not even close to being average.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we have to kind of figure that.
But why isn't it obvious? That's the weird thing. And I also saw an interview with a guy who the tariffs is destroying his business because he can't buy American. He needs some special machine to make what he makes, right? And only one company in the world makes the machine that makes the things he makes, right? And there's going to be now the tariff on that machine is going to push the machine to cost him over $500,000, and he can't do that. But would he vote for Trump again? Oh, yes, he would vote for Trump again. And it's like,
of course.
but it's just, as you said, that the nationalism.
Yeah,
what else do you have to pander except white nationalism? Clearly, he's ruining your business. You're going to be bankrupt or whatever. But I guess he's a white dude and he wants white dudes to stay. So that's the only thing left.
Yeah, they're all kind of vicariously living through Trump and his white nationalism. It's appeasing all of them. It's their ideology. It's the white nationalists. It's our country. We built this. I think that who was that? Who was that? What's his name? The Jewish guy, Stephen. What's his name? We built this at the memorial.
Oh yeah.
Stephen
Bannon. Is it Miller? Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
Guy looks like the Crypt Keeper.
It's like.
No, he didn't. Slaves built most of it. Hello. Exploited Chinese railroad workers, women, children, back when you could hire 5-year-olds to do things. The white dudes didn't build it. They capitalized on, they got the money off of it, but they didn't build it.
And the ethnic cleansing of the Native Americans, of the indigenous people that walked this country before, thousands of years before the white man decided he would leave Europe in search of resources, which is basically what it was. But it's a sad commentary on our country when we have enough people supporting a man like this. Although I do actually think he has lost a large portion of his support, hopefully at least among the Hispanics, but I'm sure there'll still be Hispanics out there that's Viva la Trump, and, I would vote for Donald Trump with that whole anthem thing, and hopefully people will vote a different way in these midterm elections to, if this was a righteous world, there wouldn't be a Republican left in office nowhere in this land.
And we'd have gerrymandering, there'd be very few of them.
Yeah, and we have to do what we have to do in California with this Proposition 50, so they can gerrymander to try to get a couple of more seats to counterbalance Texas, to counter what they're doing. So, hold on to your hats for the midterms. That's all I can tell people.
Well, I'm sitting here in Missouri, and they're doing it too. They just redistricted things to try to, make sure Democrats could never possibly get elected there again. So,
and this is insane because the order came down from one man, Donald Trump. Find me some more seats, because they know they're going to get it's going to be a bloodbath.
If they let us vote. I mean, I'm wondering if somehow there's going to be problems. There'll be a national emergency. We have to put off the elections. We can't have them because of XYZ, and we just don't do it.
This is why this guy is trying to normalize troops being in our cities, so he can pull some bullshit during the midterms and shut everything down. We'll probably go into martial law. I mean, I put nothing past these people. They are so thirsty for power and dominance over everyone else that you can't put anything past them. So the Democrats were smart. They would be knuckling down and fighting back as hard as they possibly could right now. Yesterday's not the time to fight these fucking people. Right now, we need to be fighting. They need to be organizing. They need to be doing everything they can for one, to get everybody out to vote in the midterms. That's where a lot of the percentages drop off for especially for the low propensity voters. Where, they think the only thing that is important, which we learned during the 2010 midterms when Obama was president, that the midterms is very important for maintaining and securing power as it relates to the House and the Senate, our Congress. We gotta have that to hold Trump accountable. And if they can, take the House and the Senate, I'm hoping that they can have some kind of charter, some kind of course of action they can take just to make this idiot refrain from all of the outlandish executive orders that I predict he will be trying to push through in his second half of this term.
Yeah, it is certainly alarming, and it doesn't ever seem to get any better. I just don't know why there isn't more, why he still has the support that he does, I guess, from anybody who's not rich and white and male. I mean, I understand why some of his pals would be, he's cutting taxes for them, and that's all they care about. So cool.
Yeah, that's why I say it's a sad commentary on our country, because it's like, what rational, prudent, logical thinking person would support this man? And you can look at the numbers. He still has about 33% approximately support in the country. And to me, it's astonishing. It's like, who are these people? Are these people, I mean, who feeds these people? Do they eat themselves? How do they find water?
Yeah. How do they tie their shoes?
Right. But yet they exist.
But they vote, unfortunately.
And they vote. So we have to gear up, knuckle down. I'm going to do everything I can just to start a revolution, because my campaign, I'm not taking any money. There will be no donation button on my campaign website. It'll all be money that I can conjure up either from doing comedy or something else. I don't know if I drive Uber or Lyft to raise money like I did before. but I'm not taking any money. That's where the people lose their power at. The people lose their power when you have all these special interest groups, all of these PACs, political action committees, coming up with all of this money, usually dark money, you don't know where it comes from, and they're feeding it to these candidates. You know, the whole Citizens United thing messed up our politics even farther. We have too much money in our political system for it to work effectively for the people. All of that money drowns out the voice of the people, of the power of the people, because now you got a politician that has to tap dance to their donors and do what their donors want. I mean, I'm the district I'm living in now I'm just right down the street from Skid Row, and I walk this district. I drive different places where the population hubs are, centers are, where people are, and I just get out of the car and start walking. So the other day I just walked through Skid Row and talked to people, and you know, most of the issues there are addiction and mental illness. You know, very few people I spoke with were like, well, I just can't afford a house. It's usually something that preceded that situation, like drugs, mental illness, which are the main two factors in any homeless situation, it appears to me.
Right, but we cut services for those people, so, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
what are we going to do, right? Reagan cut
right. And they act like there's no solution, but then it doesn't look like this in Torrance. It doesn't look like this in Beverly Hills. It doesn't look like this in the Pacific Palisades, you know? So why does this condition have to exist in this portion of my district, where I know that it has an adverse effect on property values? I appraised real estate for 20 years. I'm still an active, licensed real estate appraiser. And this situation doesn't help home values, which are astronomical as they are, and nobody can afford any houses, especially here in California now. It's like the median price of a house in Los Angeles, I think it's approaching $800,000. You got to have a pretty good job, six-figure income, to be able to qualify for a house. And then if the interest rates continue to stay as high as they are, people can afford even less house. And now you have all the home builders, instead of building single-family homes that people can purchase, these dirty, rotten bastards are building single-family rental units where the people can't purchase the property. They'll never be able to realize any equity, never be able to use that equity to put a kid through college or start a business. They're going to be perpetual renters. And I saw this same thing happen when the mortgage meltdown went in 2007, 2008, where you had a ton of distressed properties, foreclosures, REOs, and short pays on the market. A whole lot of rich people, people with money, once again, were able to take advantage of this, come in, buy all those houses, put renters in them, wait for the market to rebound, and then sell the houses at a hefty profit. I was appraising properties. I was watching these people who had purchased these houses 2008, 2009, 2010, market rebounds around 2013. Now they're selling all these houses, and I'm looking at them make from anywhere to $75,000 to $150,000 for just a basic single family 3+2 1,500 square foot home on a 7,000 square foot lot. And I'm like, wow. So if you didn't have capital to begin with to invest, and you didn't have a place to live, now you're going to have to try to get back into the housing ownership portion of real estate, where now it's even more difficult because a lot of those people had their credit ruined where they couldn't purchase a house to begin with. And of course, it hurt black people more adversely than any other ethnic group. You know, every time something happens, trust me, black people catch the worst of it. And I don't think it's rebounded yet. I mean, our percentage of us, our home ownership rates are still the lowest in the country. So what do? You got to come up with a plan. For one, they need to build more single family homes, period. But guess what? When you start arresting and rounding up all the people that are doing the building, now you got another issue, because now you don't have that labor force to build the homes. And I see what the new construction builders, they use undocumented workers. I've got photos of 20 years of appraising houses where there's nothing but one ethnic group as their workforce. So they're exacerbating a pre-existing condition that it's going to be impossible to dig out of this hole. And we're all going to be renters, and the rich people are going to be richer. And the disparity between wealth, the haves and the have-nots, just growing farther and farther apart every day.
I heard recently too that speaking of like documented workers, if you have a work visa, it was like $5,000 the employer had to pay if they wanted to hire someone with like a work visa per visa or something, to hire this person. So instead of a U.S. citizen, but now they've increased that to like $100,000. So
yeah, well, they're the system is broken.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we're supposed to have that e-verify, where they're verifying if people are documented, people are here legally. That doesn't work. I mean, they're getting these workers from Home Depot. They have a steady, readily available supply of undocumented people. And that's why we can't fix the system. And think about it. Have the Republicans totally shut down the border? It seems like it to me. Why come the Democrats couldn't do that? Or at least come close to it, trying to stay on the humane spectrum of treating people a certain way. But why couldn't the Democrats do something about the flow of immigrants into our country? The Republicans did. Donald Trump makes it sound like he pretty much just stopped all the immigrants from coming in from the southern border. That's the illusion that they've built. I don't know if it's true or not, but he must have done something.
I don't know. When he in power last time, they went around shooting each other because he kept telling them there's millions of people crossing the border and, they're killing thousands of Texans every day or something. And so they went down there to find these brown people and kill them. And of course, none of it was true. So,
right.
So I was actually kind of funny that they then actually shot each other because they're desperate to shoot someone. So why not shoot the other MAGA people?
Yeah. Well, that's the environment they build with all of their rhetoric, and that's why we have political violence today, because of the rhetoric and the untruths and the people not being able to ascertain credible information so they'll know the truth. And then you have the other side, the Democrats, that are for some reason, keeping their mouth shut and not having a counter message to get people knowledge. Truth is what people are thirsty for. They just want to be told the truth about what's going on in this country.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know you mentioned trying to earn some money to do the comedy. How's the comedy going? And how do you do the comedy when this is the kind of situation we're facing and they're sending troops into LA?
Oh, well, comedy clubs are always open. There's tons of places to do comedy in LA. Unfortunately, you don't get paid very much because it's so many comedians that come to LA every year from all over the world, all over the country. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get on now with the bigger comedy clubs like the Laugh Factory. My friend Paul Rodriguez owns a couple of those. The Comedy Store, the Improvs, Ice House in Pasadena, Flappers in Burbank, the major comedy clubs. I've done a couple of major shows. I did a show for D.L. Hughley. I think I got $100 for that. I mean, you really make no money doing comedy in LA because it's just flooded. And there's some really good comedians out there, not a lot like me that do political humor. So that's kind of different. And being an activist and a political humorist is it's kind of different. because you have to have a certain type of crowd. You don't want to. Some of these crowds you get in Los Angeles, all they want is the most unthoughtful, stupidest, dumbest comedy. With the gratuitous use of the N-word, which I don't use the N-word on stage. And they just want to have fun. They want to have a good time. They don't want to have to think too much. But with my comedy, I kind of throw some things in there where you actually have to become a participant and think a little bit so you can understand the material, because it's political and sometimes it can get a little rough, get a little sharp edges on it. But I think due to the fact that everyone is a little bit more politically conscious now than they used to be about 9 months ago, that a lot of people are very receptive in LA right now to political humor. It's like a breath of fresh air, because people can, like, instead of just being tortured by the shit they see on TV, they can actually laugh about it. So it kind of makes you feel good.
That's good. I mean, I think humor is a good tool, right? I mean, although I have, it seems like it'd be very difficult to make jokes out of the situation, but at the same time, you have to be able to laugh at the people in power. You have to be able to point out the ridiculousness of what they're doing, on top of illegality, but also just, the stupidity and how dumb it is. So, I mean, I think that's a hard road to hoe.
Yeah, but it has to be done. I've got some Charlie Kirk material hot on the runway, ready to go. I can't wait to do it. I'll probably go to open mic either tonight or tomorrow and try it out for the first time. And it's pretty sharp. It's pretty some pretty sharp jokes, but there's just some things I don't like what he said. And when you spew hate, I mean, you didn't hear him talking good stuff about Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Eric Gardner, Sandra Bland,
George Floyd.
Who else? George Floyd. You didn't hear him say anything good about black women. It's always these derogatory remarks. And I got 4 daughters, so yeah, I've got some jokes written for the Charlie Kirk First Amendment rights material.
Okay.
And it's to me, it's funny. So I'll just have to test it in front of an audience to see how receptive they are and see how sharp they are to get the joke that's hidden in there somewhere.
Okay. Well, if you're in LA, then make sure you check the local comedy clubs and see if you can find when Steve is performing, and help Steve out. Buy some tickets, go watch the show, and help him raise the money he needs for his campaign that he's not going to take donations for.
That's right.
And so Steve out there saying what needs to be said, and that's why he gets to say whatever he wants on this channel. And he's welcome back anytime to say whatever he'd like. Do you have any final words, Steve, for this evening?
Hey, I just like to ask everybody to stay engaged, get involved, and the power always, the power is with the people, but we can't sleep through this shit or we're going to lose all of our rights. I mean, shit, black people gonna fuck around and wind up being slaves again if we keep going in this direction, because we can't take this laying down. We got to get up, we got to resist, we got to fight, and we got to speak truth to power. That's all it is to it.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Steve.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks everybody who's watching this. Make sure that you also take his advice, stay involved and stay aware and keep up with what's going on. All right. And we'll see you again later. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night.